December 7th, 1941.
It was the start of the greatest of world wars, and while thousands died on the battlefield, many more, including heroes who now call Alaska their home, survived.
I think it's a chance to recognize, if it hadn't been for what they accomplished, our life wouldn't be the same today.
For Alaska's World War II veterans, visiting the War Memorial in May was perhaps the last chapter of their lives. KTVA's Joe Vigil traveled to the nation's capital with 44 veterans from far-flung Alaskan communities to honor their service and hear their stories.
I was pretty disgusted with Japan at the time, and I felt that we were going to be able to just blast the heck out of them.
There's no sound like 1,000 pounds of dynamite going off against a 5/8 steel hull. And you're down in the engine room.
And I seen the airplane blow up off for a while and quite a ways, but whether he got out, I don't know.
The trip to Washington gave our vets an opportunity to see the memorial built on the National Mall. And if you want to see the importance of it all, just look at these veterans' faces. Last Frontier Honor Flight, brought to you with limited commercial interruption by Chaz Limited Collision Express, Halliburton, and by Anchorage Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Center. And now, from the Alaska Aviation Museum in Anchorage, here's Joe Vigil.
Well, good evening, everyone. We are here on this Memorial Day at the Alaska Aviation Museum with proud Alaska veterans, many of whom are recently returned from our nation's capital. It was a free trip sponsored by the Last Frontier Honor Flight, dedicated to sending World War II veterans to our nation's capital to see their memorial. And we followed them every step of the way.
It's nice to meet you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
The trip started at Ted Stevens Airport.
I'd like to thank you.
Yeah, you
Thank you so much for what you did.
okay.
And what you continue to do. Thank you.
Where many felt compelled to give back to Alaska's veterans for what they gave decades ago.
I appreciate what they did. It makes me want to cry when I think about what they put themselves through for my country. And I just appreciate it, and I want them to know that.
Thank you so much for your service.
Well, I can't say it was a privilege, but it felt good to do it.
Honor Flight volunteer Jackie Kalnoski has 40 or so relatives who've sacrificed serving in the military.
We are so glad you're here.
She can't imagine not being here to send the group off.
And thank you for coming on this trip. They came home from the war. They went right back to their world and their lives. This is our way of honoring them. You're going to make me cry. It's just so important to my heart. Every one of us involved with Honor Flight.
Then it was off to Portland.
From sea to shine,
Throughout our plane, we do have 46 World War II veterans today. We're very honored to have them with us today.
There are a lot of thank yous going around. Norman Elliott was in charge of a howitzer unit in Germany during World War II. Decades after the war, he is more than modest about his service.
It's hard to put it into words because I think I'm speaking for all of us. I don't think we deserve it. I'll put it that way.
The hospitality didn't end on the plane. Right after landing in Portland, officers stood proud to welcome Alaska vets to their city.
Thank you.
For many vets, this may be their last big trip. 700 World War II veterans die every day. Judith Eckert from Homer knows the pain.
My heart is just swelling. I lost my dad Friday, a veteran, World War II. lots of memories, lots of amazing memories.
She had no idea her flight to Portland would be filled with World War II honor flight veterans.
I just really believe it was God's providence I was here. I know my dad's here. I just feel so fortunate to have these incredible men around me with they're the greatest generation.
From the Army to the Navy to the Air Force and Marines, we showed this group of veterans their stories of the honor flight trip.
People sometimes ask us why we do this. It's a lot of work, but whenever you see the reaction on these folks' face, that's why we do it.
Gives the country a chance to honor all these gentlemen here and the ones that came behind us. Because, we're not going to see too many of them, all of them. We're kind of a dying breed.
Well, I'll tell you, when we came off the plane and saw all those people and clapping and cheering us and shaking our hands, it gave us a very gratified feeling that we had been remembered.
Also part of that generation, a little lady named Nancy, standing only about 5'2", who had a tall order during the Second World War. 93-year-old World War II veteran Nancy Baker from Fairbanks is carrying something on the flight that is getting a lot of attention.
She had fun showing this to all the pilots yesterday.
And what did the pilots say when you showed them your card?
It says I am certified to fly these airplanes. That's what it is.
Warbirds.
P-40, P-47, P-51, P-63.
Like driving a new car off a sales lot, 20-year-old Baker flew brand new planes from U.S. factories to the East Coast. From there, ships hauled them to war overseas. Baker didn't get a lot of training on the planes before flying them from the showroom.
You're going to be sitting up here behind 2,000 horsepower.
We got instructions. We got verbal instructions.
Verbal instructions?
Hell yeah. But that's the...
Fly the plane. That was probably pretty much your instructions, right?
Yep, just took off. Just took off and flew.
As a way to say thanks for her service, an Alaska Airlines captain would fly her today from Portland to the nation's capital.
I'm flying you today.
Oh, this is our pilot.
Gave Baker a look at something much newer than she's used to.
Hi, Eric.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Just very, very fine.
Good. Well, it's an honor to meet you.
You see the big new airplanes? Yep.
Yeah, they're pretty fancy nowadays.
Yep.
She tells us men never had a problem with her flying. It was her height that was sometimes an issue.
One day, somebody reported a P-47 flying around the airport without a pilot.
Without a pilot, okay.
And then the tower called in and found it was me. But I was so small they couldn't see me.
When Baker returned home from the war, she flew encyclopedias to people in the bush.
It should be in every household, especially with kids in it. Yeah, that I enjoyed doing that.
Some people these days probably don't even know what an encyclopedia is.
Yeah, that's right. And I feel sorry for them.
And after a 5-hour flight from Portland, we finally reached Washington, D.C. And something happened in the airport that vets will never forget. 85-year-old David Levitt Sr. from Barrow was the first to step off the plane in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
He can't wait to check out his memorial, the World War II memorial.
Yeah, I like to see it.
He had no idea what he was about to see and hear on the other side of this walkway.
Well, there are people coming. They're happy that.
Yeah. Spontaneous eruption of cheers from people they don't even know.
I'm so proud of you guys. Thank you.